unbelievable 21-hour filibuster marathon by Senator Ted Cruz fighting against the president's health care law. Did that enhance or endanger his political future? And the administration's continued fight against voter ID laws is now suing North Carolina. Who's next? Maury, I have seen a lot of political fights in my life. I have never seen anyone stand up for 21 hours, not take a bathroom break, not take a break at all to sit down. And he looked just as fresh in the 21st hour as he did in the first. I don't know if that enhances his career or endangers it. What do you think?
Oh, I think it definitely enhances his career because we're looking for leadership. I think as far as doing anything regarding the voting pattern that's going on with Obama in the White House and controlling the Senate, I don't think it's going to make any difference. But he's definitely
separating himself from the pack?
He absolutely. He is showing leadership. You know, to be a leader, you also have to be a fanatic. I don't mean a fanatic who's going to burn houses down or kill people by the thousands.
But you got to go against the grain.
Again, the General al-Sisi of Egypt, this guy's a fanatic. He said, I'm not going to use panty-waist tactics against this brotherhood. I got to kill him. That's the only way I'm going to get rid of him. This guy's a tougher guy than Putin is in Russia. I think Cruz is the leadership that the Republican Party needs and is probably going to get in the future. I don't think it's going to happen in the near future, I think, but he has now established himself as a personage to be watched as a leader.
Well, if you look at Reagan, it took him 3 goes at it before he finally got the presidential, and he was fighting against the Bush family and the insider Republicans, the Fords.
Listen, 3 months before Reagan's election, he was losing to Carter by 30%. And they looked at him as a wild-eyed radical who was ready to throw the bomb. The only way we got our people out of the embassy, they were locked up in Tehran, was because Khomeini, who the guy the father of the guy that headed up the country right now, and that was brought back by Carter and his associates, was afraid that once Reagan was inaugurated, he might throw an atom bomb on Tehran, and that's the day they got him out of the country exactly at the moment that he was inaugurated, not elected. The moment he was inaugurated, that plane with those 300 people was out of range as far as Iran was concerned.
And you think that Ted Cruz has that kind of character and that kind of likability?
He is the only one that has shown the zeal, the passion, and the fanaticism to become a real leader. I think he's going places.
Have you ever heard his father speak?
No.
Oh, amazing. He's amazing. You know where it comes from.
Well, the point is, I'm glad he is Hispanic, because if the Republican Party is going to have a future, they better have a basic support from a substantial minority, if not a majority, of Hispanics in this country.
And he fought the Republicans in Texas to win that Senate seat.
Oh, he was a Tea Party candidate.
He had to fight against Rick Perry's
lieutenant governor.
And
I know that.
He had the money against him. He had the media against him. He had the power of the governorship against him.
But your question was, I think he tremendously enhanced himself by doing this. He was smart enough. He knew what he was doing. He was smart enough. You know, there was a movie in the 30s about
Mr. Washington. Mr. Smith goes to Washington.
Jimmy Stewart.
Yeah.
That's exactly what he was doing. And suddenly, with Jimmy Stewart, not Jimmy Stewart, but the character that he played, became a household word. And I think that's what's happening with Ted Cruz.
And you know, there's a fracture, like you mentioned earlier, in the Republican Party. You've got the McCain, Lindsey Graham, McConnell, you've got the real weak, go along, don't upset the apple cart, and you've got the Rand Pauls, the Mike Lees, the Marco Rubios, the Ted Cruzes, which is causing a political rift, I believe.
It's a cleavage at this point, but you've got the 2 different approaches. The one is the past and the one is the future. Unfortunately, because of that, right now we have a rift that isn't coordinated, and I don't think it will be. So we're headed for some very difficult times between now and the November 5th, 2014 election.
And even if you did take over the Senate, you're not taking over the presidency until 2016 at the very least. So no matter what you're going to do, it's going to get vetoed by a President Obama. So I don't know that even taking back the Senate makes that much of a difference.
Or President Clinton, if we don't have somebody of charisma and passion and fanaticism to run against her. So from
You
that
think
sense,
Ted Cruz's time is a little bit too soon? He's a little bit too early for prime time?
not necessarily. I think.
I mean, Obama certainly came up quickly.
You make a very good point. I think things are happening very fast these days. Again, go back to General Assisi. You know, General Assisi was a one-star general when Morsi and the Brotherhood took over, and he was made a defense minister. And once he got that position, then he went after the guy that put him into that position. But he's doing it as a patriot for Egypt. Yes, I think Cruz comes from a state of 26 million people. It's a powerful state. It's a top state in energy. I think this man is going to be a great leader in this country. Yes.
A lot of Hispanic voters in Texas.
That, and I think the man has, he's going to be shot at. I don't mean
He has the
literally.
chutzpah?
He's got the chutzpah coming out of his ears. I think figuratively they're going to try to assassinate him. They're not going to be able to get away with it because any man that can stand up for 21 hours without having to go.
Have you ever seen anything like that?
No. Except,
that was
yes, I
unbelievable.
did. Mr. Smith Goes to Washington.
That was a movie.
I know.
This guy actually did it. How do you plan a 21-hour anything?
That is a throwback to the way that used to be the way to do filibusters. Now they automatically do filibusters. If you get 60 votes, you can't on major legislation. You can't overcome 60 votes.
I like the way they do the legislature in Japan. They just kind of beat you over the head and pull you down, or in Parliament over in Britain. I mean, they really have some knockout.
What about the Duma in 1990 to 2000 in Russia? They used to beat each other up.
Yeah, I think we need a little bit of that. I'm tired
we
of
used
this
to
soft.
have it. We used to have it in the 19th century. You go back to some of the John Calhoun and people like that. And what about?
Who was the dueling vice presidents at the debate? They pulled guns and shot each other.
Well, Aaron Burr and you're talking about Alexander Hamilton and Aaron Burr, and Alexander Hamilton was a gentleman. He shot up in the air, and Aaron Burr shot for the head, and he, of course, it ended his career, but he won the duel.